All right, let's talk about wasabi. You know, that bright green paste that sits next to your sushi? The stuff with that fiery kick that goes right up your nose? It's just part of the whole sushi experience, right? Well, what if I told you that almost every time you've had it, it wasn't actually wasabi?
So, I've got a question for you, and I want you to really think about it. Have you ever eaten real wasabi? It sounds like a simple question, but honestly, the answer is probably not what you think.
Yeah, because the truth is, for most people, especially if you're eating outside of Japan, the answer is almost certainly no. That green stuff on your plate, it's an impostor, a stand-in for one of the most famously difficult plants to grow in the entire world.
So let's peel back the curtain on this thing. It's time to meet the great wasabi imposter.
And when you put them side by side, the difference is just staggering. On one side, you've got the real deal, Han wasabi. It's got this amazing, complex flavor. It's kind of sweet at first, then this gentle warmth comes through that fades away really fast. Then you look at the imitation. What is it? It's mostly horseradish, plain and simple. It's just a harsh, one-note burn that attacks your sinuses and hangs around. And the texture? It's often gritty, and that bright green color? Yeah, that comes from food dye.
So, let's be super clear. Real wasabi comes from one very specific plant. It's actually in the same family as horseradish and mustard, but it's a totally different species. And the part we eat? It's not actually the root like you might think. It's the rhizome, which is basically the stem that grows underground.
Okay, so the big question is why? Why do we have this widespread fake stuff? Why not just use real wasabi everywhere? Well, that gets to the heart of the matter. This plant is an absolute nightmare to farm.
I mean, this plant is unbelievably picky. It's a total diva. It has to grow in the gravel beds of clean, cold, constantly flowing mountain streams. The water temperature has to be locked in between 10 and 17 degrees Celsius. It needs shade all the time, perfect air quality. Oh, and it takes 1.5 to 2 full years to be ready to harvest. One little thing goes wrong, the entire crop can be toast.
And as you can imagine, all of that difficulty means one thing. It's incredibly expensive. We're talking up to $150 for a single pound of the fresh stuff. It's genuinely one of the priciest agricultural products on the planet.
And just to make things even more complicated, let's say you get your hands on some. Well, the clock starts ticking the second you grate it. The unique flavor and that special heat, they're super volatile. They literally disappear in about 15 minutes. After that, it's just gone. That's why you'll see chefs at really high-end sushi places grating it fresh for each order.
You know, the story of how this plant even ended up on our plates is pretty fascinating. And it might surprise you to learn that it didn't start out as food at all. It was originally used as a medicine.
If you go way back to the 8th century, you can find wasabi listed in Japan's oldest medicinal dictionary. It took until the 1600s for anyone to figure out how to actually farm it, and it was considered so valuable that the shogun Tokugawa Ieyasu made sure the farming techniques were kept top secret. But then, fast forward to the early 1800s, and sushi vendors in Edo, what we now call Tokyo, stumbled onto something amazing.
They realized that putting a little wasabi on raw fish wasn't just about the flavor. It actually helped stop people from getting sick. Think about it. This was long before refrigerators. That discovery was a total game changer. Wasabi's natural antimicrobial properties made it the perfect sidekick for raw fish.
So, what is it that gives wasabi that signature kick? You know, that sensation that's so different from the burn of a chili pepper. To understand that, we need to dive into a little bit of science. It all comes down to a chemical called allyl isothiocyanate. Let's just call it AITC. This is the molecule responsible for that sharp, sinus-clearing feeling, and for the plant itself, it's actually a brilliant defense mechanism to keep bugs and animals from eating it. So how does this kick get created? It's actually a really cool little chemical reaction. Think of the wasabi stem as being inert. Nothing's really happening. But the moment you grate it, you break open its cell walls. This lets two different compounds that were kept separate, an enzyme called myrinase and another thing called sinegrin, finally mix. And boom, they react instantly, and that's what creates the pungent, fiery AITC. And this right here is why it feels so completely different from spicy chili peppers.
A chili's heat comes from capsaicin. It's an oil, and it sticks to the heat receptors on your tongue, creating that slow, building burn that lasts. But wasabi's kick, that AITC, isn't an oil, it's a vapor. So instead of sticking to your tongue, it floats up into your nasal passages. That's why you get that sharp, quick hit in your nose that disappears almost immediately, leaving your palate clean.
But here's the thing. This incredibly rare and special flavor, it's in trouble. Real wasabi is facing some serious challenges, and it's become a flavor under threat.
And the people who know this best are the farmers themselves, the ones on the front lines. You can hear it directly from them, like this farmer in Shizuoka, which is pretty much the heart of wasabi country. He says global warming is a massive challenge, and it's doing real damage to their crops and their way of life. And the numbers really back this up. It's pretty shocking, actually. In that one region, Shizuoka, production has dropped by more than half in just the last decade. So what's going on? Well, a few things. As water temperatures get warmer, the plants get sick more easily with stuff like soft rot. Stronger and more frequent typhoons are literally destroying the terraced farms, and with less snowpack on the mountains, there's less of that clean, cold meltwater that is absolutely essential for wasabi to grow. It's really a perfect storm of problems. So does this mean real wasabi is just going to disappear? Well, maybe not. Science and technology are stepping in, and they might just have a solution. So let's take a look at what the future could hold. Right now, there are basically two major paths people are exploring. First, there's the genetic approach. Researchers are actually mapping the wasabi genome, trying to breed new versions of the plant that can handle warmer temperatures. That's a long game, though, could take 10 years. Then you have the tech approach. People are building indoor vertical farms where they can control absolutely everything: the light, the water, the air. And get this, they can get a fully grown wasabi plant in under 10 months instead of over 2 years. So there you have it. We've gone from a simple sushi plate all the way to a high-tech science lab. We've exposed an impostor, dug into its amazing history, and seen the very real fight to save its future. And that brings us right back to where we started. So the next time you sit down for sushi and you see that little green paste, you'll know exactly what you're looking for. Is it a gritty, bright green paste? Or is it something paler with a smoother, finely grated texture and a complex, delicate heat that's here one moment and gone the next?
Don't forget to like and subscribe for more How Meets History.